The first prescription drug he was really given was Ritalin because he was hyperactive at the time, they thought. And there is quite a bit of medical literature debating whether it's a positive thing to give kids at that point. Many people find that it helps calm kids down, but there are others who argue that by letting kids think that drugs can affect their mood and getting them sort of hooked on this cycle of drugs can control you psychologically, they've argued that kids that took Ritalin are more likely to do drugs later in life. There are some other studies who argue the opposite, so exactly what the scientific data is, I don't know. But there were some in Kurt's life who felt that his early prescription use of Ritalin probably began his lifelong use of prescription and non-prescription drugs.
I think that he was very troubled by the fact that he couldn't go anywhere without being recognized and asked for autographs and mobbed. Couldn't get through dinner without a lot of people asking him to talk to him and telling him how great he was. I think even though Krist was more recognizable, I think Krist had an easier time of dealing with it. And unfortunately, I think he decided to turn to drugs to help relieve the pain of that and the stress. Because people forget too that becoming a millionaire in a short period of time is also just as stressful as losing your job and losing a lot of money.
Heroin, which is a drug that is most closely associated with Kurt Cobain in the popular literature and the popular myth, really was a drug he didn't begin doing until the last 3 years of his life.
This is a launch for an album of the biggest band in the world, and the singer ODs. You break into his bedroom, you hear a scream, you break in to find him slumped behind the door with a syringe, and Kelly, you remember Kelly, the nanny, rushed in and smacked him in the solar plexus, and he came round. And then you're going downstairs, it always reminds me of a spitting image with Brezhnev going, "Oh, we may have had a little accident with our nuclear power station," and a friend of mine.
It's like the interview could be delayed 15 minutes.
Type of thing.
I think it's a real shame that he turned to heroin. I think I wish he would have found a better way to deal with things. Either, I don't know if he needed antidepressants or just if he should have tried to maybe not tour as much and stay out of the public eye and just back off a little bit and gradually ease into becoming more famous instead of, they did a lot of touring, they did a lot of shows, they were out there a lot, those couple of years before he ended up dying.
I think it's unfortunate that Kurt is so painted in this image as a junkie when the truth is that heroin certainly became a huge problem for him and played a big role in his death, but that was really only the last few years of his life. Most of his life, he actually was a fairly sober and sane person.